Hey everyone, thank you for clicking on this video. If you're looking to support me, making more content, etc., look in the description box. There will be options like merch. For example, this t-shirt. So, without further ado, let's dive into the video. By the way, I love this intro once it gets really started. Very smooth, very clean intro.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos.
Now let's take one moment to copy all her information down. The reason why is I want you to follow her channel. I'm using a lot of her content and I really appreciate her work.
Otro video de recetas con café de especialidad. Ya empezamos septiembre. En Argentina, en unos días...
I don't know if you've noticed, she's from Argentina and she replaces all of her double L, the Y sound in English, in the J sound, J, with sh. An SH sound. It's very common for her dialect. Let's continue.
Comienza la primavera y podemos sentirlo con estos días soleados y calentitos que nos están tocando. Es por esto que te traemos 3 de mis recetas frías favoritas para disfrutar del sol. Estas son recetas que puedes encontrar en la carta de Flat and White y que realizamos con espresso. Pero para que puedas hacerlas en tu casa, vamos a prepararlas con...
Now, she's going a mile a minute, but I wanted to pause on this section. Have you noticed that she said, pero para que puedas? This is the first grammar topic I wanted to highlight. The subjunctive. If you haven't heard of the subjunctive and it's brand new to you, it's a way in Spanish to indicate things that are subjective, not objective. Now, if you've heard of the subjunctive, you've probably heard of WEIRDO before. Wishes, emotions, impersonal expressions, recommendations, doubts, ojalá. I think that's the way the acronym goes. Maybe I have some letters reversed, but it doesn't matter. What I want you to do is if you need a refresher on WEIRDO or the subjunctive, open another tab, pause this video, and take a moment to just review the subjunctive. Now that you've done that, or if you never needed it, we can continue. Everybody knows that the WEIRDO phrases trigger the subjunctive. But another phrase that triggers the subjunctive that people forget is para que. In order that, so here she says, so that you can make this in your house, or make these in your house. Para que puedas. Puedas. Notice that the ER and AR endings are reversed, and it's not puedes, puedas. Make a note of this, para que and de modo que. De modo que. They work the same way. They're basically synonyms, but it means so that. In order to. That is the meaning. Alright, let's continue.
Con una cafetera italiana. Para comenzar vamos a ir con un clásico. Una iced coffee, pero con un toque especial. Como primer paso vamos a preparar nuestro café de especialidad en la cafetera italiana. Yo voy a utilizar la Pedrini que puedes encontrar en nuestra tienda online. Si querés aprender cómo utilizarla correctamente, te dejamos linkeado nuestro video donde te enseñamos el paso a paso.
Okay. Linkeado. I'm not a fan of the Spanish. Well, I am porque yo hablo así y siempre estoy mezclando los idiomas, pero no deberías hablar como yo. So I said, I always talk like this anyways. I mix English and Spanish a lot, but we should try to avoid it. So, she used the word linkeado. I want you to pause the video, open a tab in Google or Chrome or Safari, and look up another word that could possibly work just as well for linkeado. Technically, this is probably official Spanish now, but let's see if we can find other synonyms. Alright, next part of the video.
Luego agarramos un vaso y lo llenamos con hielo. Colocamos 100 mililitros de la leche que desees. Por ejemplo, a mí me encanta cómo queda con la de almendras. Si tenés una prensa francesa, podés espumarla en frío, bajando y subiendo el émbolo para darle
Okay, here it says para darle. Now, excuse me, I don't have time to teach indirect and direct object pronouns, but I want to make you aware of them. A direct object is something that's acted upon, and an indirect object receives the action, roughly. That's really all we have time to get into for this video, but make a note, and teachers, make a note to explain this if you ever use a video like this, what direct objects and indirect objects are, and what indirect object and direct object pronouns are. Their placement, where they go. Here, darle, the indirect object pronoun is attached to the end of the infinitive verb. There's a reason that's done. To give it, I paused the video, I don't know what she's going to say next, but to give it something. Alright? Direct and indirect object pronouns. Make a note of it so that you can open a tab and study it later. Let's continue.
Un poquito de textura. Ahora vamos a agregar un shot, es decir, 30 mililitros de Baileys.
Everything's better with
Va
Baileys.
a realzar los sabores agregándole dulzura y cremosidad. Y añadimos unos 30 mililitros de café. Para esta receta te recomiendo usar un café con cuerpo pronunciado y notas dulces. Por ejemplo, el del Salvador que puedes encontrar en nuestra tienda online va muy bien. Esta receta me encanta para relajarme, por ejemplo, viendo una película. Y la combinación del café con Baileys queda riquísima, es una bomba. Si no quieres usar leche, puedes reemplazarla por agua fría como si tomaras un
Okay.
americano.
There we go. So, right here she's saying that if you don't want to use milk, you can replace it with cold water as if you were drinking un americano. Now, the subtitles here are a little bit off because it says tomaras with an accent, but this is actually the imperfect subjunctive. Write this down, bring up another tab to look it up if you're not familiar with it. The imperfect subjunctive is also known as a contrary to fact clause, and here she's saying something contrary to fact, as if you were drinking or as if you drank an americano. Now, that's not actually happening, but she's saying to replace it with cold water as if that was happening. The imperfect subjunctive is also used with the second conditional. Second conditionals are usually if-then statements, hypotheticals about the present. For example, I can say, si yo tuviera la plata, te ayudaría. If I had the money, I would help you. Tuviera is the imperfect subjunctive. The whole sentence structure is called the second conditional, and I'm saying if I had the money. I don't say si tuve, I don't say si tenía, I say si tuviera. Si yo tuviera la plata, te ayudaría. Alright. Also, really interesting structure. Bring this up in another tab. Como si imperfect subjunctive. As if you were drinking here, or as if you drank an americano, or un americano. Anytime you have como si plus the imperfect subjunctive, it's basically saying as if you had, as if you were, as if it was, as if it had been, something to that effect. So the three things just from this still that we could highlight is, or are, the imperfect subjunctive, the second conditional, and como si plus imperfect subjunctive. If you put those things into your browser and look them up later on, I guarantee it's going to change the way you speak. Let's move on to the next point.
Y también queda muy bien. La segunda receta que te traemos es mi postre favorito, aunque realmente se me antoja a toda hora. Se trata del affogato. Es una mezcla rica y cremosa compuesta por sabores muy diferentes de los ingredientes principales, café y helado. Su origen es italiano y su nombre se traduce literalmente como ahogado, donde la bocha de helado se ahoga en un espresso. Para esta receta,
basically just drowning ice cream in coffee. It's wonderful. I've actually had it.
se utiliza helado fior di latte. En Argentina lo encontramos como crema americana, que es un helado hecho con lácteos, azúcar y almidón, sin agregar yema de huevo. Esta crema deliciosa deja brillar los sabores del café sin opacarlo, por lo que es importante contar con un buen helado, así como café de especialidad. Para prepararlo, vamos a servir una bocha grande o dos pequeñas de helado, y añadimos el café que preparamos. Cuanto más café agregues, más intenso te va a...
That's what I was waiting for. So, cuanto más and cuanto menos. You can open another, Google window or tab and look up cuanto más verb, cuanto menos verb. And this is what we use to communicate the more you do or the less you do X. Or the more you have. This structure is super important because it shows up on every single test. So make a note of it. Teachers, if you want to pause and explain this, is a great concept to explain, especially if you're going from low, intermediate, and up. Let's continue with the video.
Va a quedar. Nosotros te recomendamos aproximadamente 30 mililitros por cada bocha. Ahora agarramos una cuchara y a disfrutar. Esta es la receta tradicional y es mi favorita ya que el café es el protagonista. Aunque si querés puedes experimentar con otros sabores de helado como por ejemplo de chocolate o dulce de leche. Para esto el café de Nicaragua que puedes encontrar en la tienda va muy bien ya que se resaltan sus notas a chocolate. El affogato...
Okay, I want to make a note of this as well. Yaque. Yaque, puesto que, visto que. There are three connectors. Yaque, puesto que, visto que. She's using yaque here. Yaque just means since. In the sense of causation. Causation, yaque, puesto que, visto que. Also, notice she said shaque. Not yaque, jaque, no. Shaque, with an English SH sound. I'm willing to bet anything she's from Argentina.
Es una experiencia sensorial única que combina diferentes temperaturas, texturas y sabores. En una misma cucharada te encontrás con el frío del helado y la calidez del café, uno fundiéndose en el otro, que nos hace cuestionar si realmente estamos comiendo un postre o tomando una bebida. La tercera receta que te vamos a compartir es la que más preparo en el verano. Me hice adicta de lo deliciosa que es. Se trata del espresso tonic. A mí que no me...
Open another tab and just Google or look up low plus adjective. Low plus adjective has a very interesting function. It can be the superlative of an adjective, and it can mean also how in front of the adjective, how beautiful, how strong. It can mean quite a few things. Bring up another tab and put in low plus adjective. You'll be glad you did.
Me gustaba el agua tónica, me alucinó la buena combinación que se obtiene con el espresso. Resalta mucho la acidez y notas cítricas, manteniendo la dulzura que además agrega el agua tónica. Para esto, y como para todas las recetas, lo más importante son los ingredientes. Un espresso bien calibrado es clave. Hoy vamos a prepararlo en la cafetera italiana, por lo que hay que asegurarse de tener un buen café y la molienda indicada. De agua tónica estamos utilizando esta de la India que nos gusta ya que no es tan dulce, tiene un buen sabor y se le nota un rico cítrico con notas a naranja. Las tónicas comerciales de las líneas de gaseosas tienen muchísima azúcar que opaca el sabor del café. Entonces, para esta receta llenamos un vaso con hielo y le colocamos 100 mililitros del agua tónica. Luego añadimos 2 shots, es decir 60 mililitros del café que preparamos en la cafetera italiana. Y para darle un toque más cítrico, nos gusta agregarle una rodajita de limón o lima o también puede ser de naranja. Esta es lejos la bebida que más tomo apenas empiezo a sentir el calorcito. Es súper refrescante y me encanta. Como podés ver, son 3 recetas súper fáciles que puedes preparar cuando quieras. Lo único que tenés que asegurarte es de dominar el café.
Notice you did it again, lo único. So, look up again, this, reminding you. Adjective plus low plus adjective. That was the order, low plus adjective. Alright, let's keep going.
y conseguir buenos ingredientes. Contame cuál es tu receta fría favorita y qué te preparas en verano. ¿Te haces alguna de estas tres? ¿Las probaste? Comentanos abajo qué pensás. No te olvides de darle like al video. Compartilo con quien quieras preparar estas recetas y si sos nuevo por acá, suscríbete que tenemos muchos videos para vos. Más recetas, más técnicas, más café. Eso fue todo, los veo la próxima.
Alright, let's pause it there. Please follow her channel. The big points, I pointed out a lot of things throughout the video, but the big things that I wanted you to look up and make note of to keep moving forward as a student and as a teacher, these are topics that will have to be repeated thousands of times anyways, so they're great to make note of in this video. And those are the subjunctive in general, weirdo, have them look it up, included in your lesson plans. We also made a note to see if we could find a better word than linkeado. Also, the imperfect subjunctive. The imperfect subjunctive actually had three things on it. The imperfect subjunctive had the imperfect subjunctive in general, the second conditional, hypotheticals, if, then, etc. And then the last thing was como plus si plus the imperfect subjunctive. If you put those into separate Google tabs, there's thousands of websites, thousands of videos, but now you know what to look for. We also mentioned direct and indirect object pronouns. Again, gold stuff to look up. And cuanto más and cuanto menos. If you guys want to support me doing more videos, more content, actual full explanations of stuff, like, comment, subscribe. I read your comments, so whatever you guys write, I'll read. And also, you can pick up my merch. Like this shirt that says legit snack. Oh, it's so bright. Legit snack. And it's my drawing, my art, and my merch. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Ciao.